It's Talking Heads on Six Music, and of course, Radiohead. See what we did there. Steve Lamacq, Six Music. Welcome to the programme. If you are just joining us, Radiohead at the Beeb. Today, it's a bit of rock and roll history in the making, and Thom and Ed. We hope, with fingers crossed, it's rock and roll history. We're picking this up. Welcome to the studio. Welcome back to the studio. How are you?
All right, Steve, how are you?
Yeah, very
good. Job my train turned up, didn't it? Otherwise there wouldn't be much history.
Well, we still have, we'd still have Ed.
Oh, that's true.
That wouldn't be historic,
no
though.
offence, mate.
Oh, it'd be quiet.
Quiet.
When was the last time you did an interview on your own at a radio station? It's got to be weeks.
It has. It's weeks.
So, last time you were here, it doesn't seem that long ago, last time you were here you were talking about In Rainbows, and then what happens next? Cozza goes and puts his foot in it, saying you're about to go into the studio and record a new record. Have you seen that?
What?
No, he makes this stuff up, you know.
Oh, have you seen the Pitchfork interview?
No.
Have you not?
I told him, I said, be careful with Pitchfork, but did he listen?
Puts the cat amongst the pigeons, really has. Have you got time booked later in the year to make another record?
Oh, yeah. Have we? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There will be words later.
Right.
No, yes, no. Yes.
Colin.
Yes. There is possibly,
Possibly,
a gap in the schedule for maybe.
Oh, there'll be a gap.
Right. We're going to do some recording.
Through it.
Right.
We'll do some recording, but we've got a tour first, so you know.
So also mentioned was working with Nigel Godrich, and this was the interesting thing, just coming back to the process of recording, which I've always found interesting. And Colin says that one of the great things about Nigel is he's great with psychology in the studio. That he's very supportive, but he's also very objective at the same time. Is that
Well, someone's got to be objective. Yeah.
Well, what do you need in the studio? Do you need reassurance? Do you need subtly directing?
Mostly well, for me personally, mostly the trick is to stop me tearing something up before it's finished.
Right.
You know, apparently that was what as he was saying the other day. There's this point, like roughly about 6:30.
It is before supper.
It's like everybody knows whether it's going well or not, depending on whether I want to tear it to shreds and kick the place down, roughly around 6:30. And if I do, then things are going quite well.
So that's the crucial point in the day.
Apparently.
What time do you start?
That varies.
1,
Right,
12,
right.
12 o'clock.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
And so by 6:30, that's the... And what if it's going badly, do you just say, let's call it a day, let's go home, let's go and eat?
Nowadays I get kicked out.
I mean, have you been through, a point where you sort of lose your way? Or are you very sensitive in the studio? Do you each take criticism very well, or do you just sort of, do you mope around? Do you sulk? Are the sulkers in the back?
No, no one sulks.
No.
I mean, that would be, it's, you know, I think people are, the thing is, you really notice, Nigel's brilliant because we really noticed him when he wasn't there, when we tried to do it without him.
Yeah.
And for a start, we couldn't finish anything.
Yeah.
Nigel's brilliant at finishing off tracks.
Yeah.
He's great at starting them.
Hang on a minute.
He's supportive, but he'll also say he'll be hard when he has to be hard.
Yeah.
And I guess that's the key. But no one really sulks. You know, everybody gets insecure at times.
Yeah.
But it's just, and hopefully those emotions that you go through are the emotions that you sort of capture in the music as well.
I think there's a point where you've got to be healthy. There has to be healthy questioning of what you're doing, but a tendency for us as a band, and me in particular, is to the questioning. Saturates everything, and so you end up in this sort of stasis, like a permanent cloud of doubt about everything that's going on.
Well,
and Nigel's able to sort of, kick through that. Otherwise, it wouldn't happen. I was just listening to that MGMT album the other day. There ain't no doubt going on there.
Did you like
Talk about ultra confident? Yeah, I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, it's a great record.
It's an amazing record. But,
so, is this something in your character? Were you always like this? When you were at university, did you never finish an essay? Did you get halfway to the end and then think, do you know what? Yeah. Well, any of you really.
It's a nasty habit you accrue over time,
right?
With the luxury of not having a real job.
Yeah.
Have you ever hit a deadline?
Yeah, we used to.
Yeah.
We
used to
did.
be
We did it on
pretty
this
good at that,
record.
man.
We
Yeah,
did it on this record. We set ourselves a deadline end of June. Beginning of June. Everything
Deadlines
had
are
to be finished.
extremely important.
Yeah. Right.
Yes, kids.
Right. Okay. So it's the big day today then. Radiohead out the beat. This is your first proper gig, I guess, in a way, even though it's not a proper. Well, it is a proper gig. It's just in a radio theatre. Since playing in East London, and what was the East London
That
nights
was
like?
mental,
Wasn't it?
It was mental.
The pictures are amazing. There's a brilliant picture
well,
of you in Spin.
Nigel did because he's this other thing he likes to do. You should have him really. Well, we don't need to be here, do we? He likes fiddling around with little cameras and stuff, and so we did this like webcast thing, of the show, like with this tiny little system, and I can't remember how many people watched it. It was something absolutely nuts. How many people? Like
12, 13.
No.
More?
No, 40,000 people logged on and watched that little tiny gig in 93 Foot East, whatever it was called.
Yeah.
And it looks really great on YouTube because it's all like, sketchy as anything. And, but it was just we had a really good time that day. I can safely say the crew didn't.
No.
Poor guys. They had to
Because
move.
you had to move venue, didn't you?
Yeah.
That was a thing.
The police shut us down, man.
They shut us down, man.
Yeah.
So, lucky you didn't try and do it on the roof or something like that. How difficult was it deciding for the next batch of dates what you were going to play? And did you have to go and rehearse some of the older material? And had you forgotten any of it?
Oh, yes. We've just spent 4 weeks rehearsing, and we had there's a list of started off at a list of 80 songs. We did an initial cull down to 55.
55 songs?
Yeah, that we
more
could
like
pick
60,
from.
actually.
Yeah, it's more like
I've
60.
secretly added another 5. He doesn't know that.
Has this tendency on any blackboard with a list of songs to add another 5 on.
Unfinished,
and
of
by
course.
night we're scrubbing them, we're taking them away.
What do you do? Sneak back in with a cloth and
When we
take
make
a few-
Kid A,
Sure, it's whoever gets in earliest, basically.
It all started on Kid A when we were making Kid A. Tom, we had our blackboard, which we had for years. There were like 60 song titles on there. I mean, and
most of them, they got no idea what they are.
no idea. It would be kind of like some
Poxy silly,
15-second doodle.
Sequence on,
Yeah.
sequence on my little pocket calculator thing.
So
there's a possible, 60 songs? So you're
Yeah.
rehearsing around about 60 songs at the moment. And who's the most forgetful?
I think that's kind of all of us at the moment, to be
Yeah.
honest. It's kind of funny watching Johnny and Ed frantically run around trying to figure out where all their pedals are supposed to plug in and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause
I
it's
just
all
have to remember the words. It's quite cool, actually.
it's all sounds, and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And you've got to reclaim all that. And it's not like we've got banks of computerized gear that, hey, I've got that sound for talk show host. I'll just put that. No, it's like, how the bloody hell did I do that? Or how did you, it's fun, It's kind of quite Heath Robinson. It's sort of It's sort of like the
best bit was like the beginning of the rehearsal period. Like we're going to strip down to the bare essential instruments. We ain't going to take anything peripheral, no extra gear, blah blah blah. Not.
You see, if it's slightly different, you could always claim that you're reappraising the songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when we mess up,
Yeah.
that's another reappraisal, Jack.
It's a reinterpretation. Are you? So you are trying to stick to how the older songs sound. There's no temptation to actually sort of reinvent some of the material.
Yeah, there's bits and bobs of you little melodies or things here and there. You sort of change around a little bit, but generally speaking, the big struggle is just to remember how it goes.
Right.
And having the time to do it as well. You need a lot of time to do that.
Yeah.
You've got to remember the new songs. You've got to be able to do the new songs, and it's not an easy record to play live.
I was going to say, what's the hardest one? Is it Jigsaw? What's difficult?
Jigsaw's hard.
Yeah.
Jigsaw's hard.
It's really hard.
Reckoner's
hard.
sort of hard in a way. It depends on how you want it to be. It depends how fussed you are, really.
I'll tell you what, we're going to play a record and we're going to come back with more from Thom and Ed from Radiohead, but we're playing this because we think Thom likes this record. It is the new single from Portishead. Portishead and Machine Gun, their new single. That's true, isn't it? You're a fan of that record? You're both fans of that?
fantastic,
It's
that
a
record.
brilliant record.
And so, I mean, have you heard anything else from the album?
The whole album.
Yeah,
Have you?
I got it.
Yeah, I've been
Yeah.
playing it for the last 2 weeks.
Really?
Yeah.
And is it what you expected? Is it?
It's dark as, man.
Is it?
Yeah.
But it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful in parts.
Right.
I have to say, I actually think it's my favourite Portishead record.
It's
Really?
definitely their best
Yeah.
record. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no doubt about that. My favourite one is song called The Rip, and then there's one at the end which sounds exactly like that old 70s band Silver Apples.
Right.
That's just mental.
right.
Absolutely beautiful.
First track is immense. There's some kind of I don't want to, spoil it for him, but there's a Brazilian thing going on in there, and it's just incredible.
Right. So what else are you listening to at the moment? I always ask this because I'm nosy.
I've got
Anything
Michael Stipe gave me the R.E.M. album last week.
Oh,
That's really good.
it's just on cue. Put your headphones on. Put your headphones on.
Oh, all right.
Not have you got the
that's
ones
not
that
mine.
not your own headphones, not your iPod
hello.
headphones. Here we go.
Oh, okay.
So what do you think of the REM record?
I think it's great. I was really excited. You gave it me last week, and I've listened to it twice in the car, sitting in traffic. And first track is totally amazing. The penultimate track is totally amazing. I mean, there's on first listen, there's like 3 or 4 that are up there with my favourite, top 20 REM tunes ever.
Well, that's
So,
right.
and what's really exciting about it is that Peter Buck's, got his guitar sound back. It's
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
bitey, nasty.
It sounds like Buck's record, doesn't it?
Yeah,
The last one
and-
sounded like Michael Mills's record. This one sounds like Buck's record.
And what's really cool about that is that it sort of blends really well with Michael's voice,
Yeah.
because Michael's voice is really gravelly, and it makes you realise that the two fit together really, really well. And Mike Mills is doing loads of harmonies, and the drumming's great,
Do you want to know what they thought of your record?
No.
Oh, I'm going to tell you anyway.
Okay.
This is Peter Buck and Michael Stipe last Monday at the Royal Albert Hall. But I was saying it earlier on as well, back in 1995, Milton Keynes, on the one day out of the, I think there's 6 bands across the 2 days. One day you put on a band called Blur, and on another day supporting you was a little-known band called Radiohead.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to them?
I don't know. They were doing good stuff. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, they did some weird thing where they didn't really put out their last record or something. I don't know if that worked out for them or not, but we'll see.
Have you heard In Rainbows? Do you like it?
I love
it's
it.
a
It's a great record. Yeah.
I kind of, being the completist I am, I have to have the whole 18-song package, because some of the stuff is a little messier than the record.
You got the vinyl?
No, you know what? I didn't, unfortunately.
We got the
because
CD.
I just didn't get around to it,
Yeah.
but I downloaded the other 8.
Yeah.
But I bought the hard copies.
There you go. The Buck has got the whole set of songs.
That's good, isn't it? It's good, though, because we've been rehearsing all the other songs as well. Yeah, so at least someone will know what they are.
So, I mean, it strikes me, though, that in a little like REM have always been very concerned about the bands that they take on tour. Very much like yourselves, you've just announced Liars for America and Back for Lashes.
Yeah, I got really into that record. Initially, I was sort of maybe, but on the third listen, it sort of went clink in my head. So I'm really excited about that. And we got Grizzly Bear as well.
Have you?
Who I just think of. I mean, it's all the sort of the harmonies and all the sort of effects and stuff they do. Fantastic. I think that's it. Is that it? We're not quite sure what that's about it.
We're going to have Mode Selector in Germany.
Oh yeah,
in
Mode
Berlin.
Selector's going to do Germany.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Liars as well, so I'm really happy about that.
And what else have you got planned for the rest of the year? Is there anything you're doing outside of the band? Is there anything else that you've got planned? I'll keep waiting for the proper solo album. I'll keep waiting for your solo album. Where the Kiss style solo album? Come on.
Yeah. Well, we're touring up until the beginning of September. We're going to Japan at the end of September, and then that's it. So I guess we'll be doing some recording.
We're trying to figure it out really, because like Johnny's his wife's just had a new baby, so he doesn't want to
No.
lose the entire year, which is totally fair enough. So we're just sort of trying to figure out. We might do stuff in 2s and 3s, and I'm not quite sure. We need to talk to Nigel, otherwise it'll never happen anyway.
It's going to be, I was thinking about this, it's going to be a weird year, because you're landscaped in a year where you're going out and doing touring, and wherever you go, there's elections happening.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
It's a real shift. I mean, it's a couple of days before you leave, I think, is the London mayoral election,
Oh,
isn't
God.
it? That's just before you start the American tour, I think. And then when you get to America, there's some more primaries in May.
Isn't the Florida primary, or has that happened now?
I think that's happened, hasn't it? And the whole Democratic thing comes to a head in the summer, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Right, okay.
and then there's the Democratic National Convention, which I think is sometime around when you're out there as well. But I mean, it's just going to be. I think, as I say, you're playing out. It's going to be a year of change and everything, and you're going around. It's a nice backdrop to have. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, as long as it goes the right way.
But it's an important sort of year. It just feels, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it would be amazing if we're over in America and Obama, gets the nomination, because we've really felt it as a band the last kind of couple of times we've gone on over there, or 3 times, but especially in 2003 and 2006. There's amongst our audience, there's such a hostility towards the present regime over there, and it would be really nice to have a bit of hope. If Obama gets it, I think there'll be a lot of optimism over there, because we all know why.
It gives it's great having a band and a records like yours at the moment to soundtrack this year of potential change. I think it's really interesting. We might be quite inspiring as well.
Cool.
I think along the way.
Yeah, thanks.
It'd be nice to hear it in the summer. I think part of the record is quite a summer record, and we released it in October. Fine in the southern hemisphere, but yeah.
Listen, chaps, thank you very much for coming in, and there's live music from Radiohead on this programme coming up later in the programme. For now, though, Thom, thank you very much.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.